3 hours later, she passed away. So when did I have time?
Dog the Bounty Hunter, the man with a reputation as tough as nails and a relentless pursuit of justice, has lived a life far from ordinary. While the cameras captured his fierce chase of fugitives, the real story behind the headlines is much more complex. From his turbulent relationships and multiple marriages to lawsuits and run-ins with the law, Dog's journey is filled with drama and unexpected twists. So, what's the truth behind the man the world came to know as Dog? Let's dive into his incredible and often controversial life story. The early years of Dog Chapman.
There's nothing being authorized from any of us, but you know how buzzards are, so I just...
Dwayne "Dog" Chapman, the notorious bounty hunter, didn't have an easy start in life. Born on February 2, 1953, in Denver, Colorado, Dwayne was raised in a strict, blue-collar family where love often came with harsh discipline. His father, Wesley Dwayne Chapman, a Korean War veteran and welder-turned-bail bondsman, was a tough man with a hot temper, prone to harsh punishments that often left Dwayne feeling the sting. Dwayne's mother, Barbara Darlene Chapman, a Sunday school teacher, tried to instill moral values, but the home lacked warmth and peace, making life difficult for young Dwayne. As he grew older, Dwayne realized his childhood was far from ordinary. His father, known as Flash for his skills in boxing, introduced him to combat at a young age, believing it would toughen him up. But what Dwayne really wanted was his father's approval and affection. Instead, he found solace in rebellion. At the age of 15, seeking freedom from his rigid upbringing, he ran away and joined the Devil's Disciples, an outlaw motorcycle gang. It was a drastic departure from his religious upbringing, where his mother had pushed him to embrace a life of faith and church-going. Despite rejecting his preacher mother's influence, Dwayne remained rooted in his beliefs. After a physical altercation in defense of Jesus, one of his fellow bikers coined the nickname Dog, a reverse play on God, and it stuck. Little did Dwayne know, this simple nickname would define the tough, resilient persona that would shape his future career as one of the most famous bounty hunters in America. But this was only the beginning of a life filled with even greater challenges, struggles, and ultimately, transformation. From criminal to bounty hunter.
One of the worst I think there is. And they had called the house and said...
Dwayne Dodson Chapman's journey from a troubled past to a successful career is nothing short of remarkable. It all began when he met his first wife, LaFonda Sue Darnell, in Denver, Colorado. The two hit it off immediately, and after a few years of dating, they married in 1972. They eventually settled in LaFonda's hometown of Pampa, Texas, where they built a family together, having two sons, Dwayne Lee Chapman II and Leland Chapman. But as their family grew, so did the strain on their relationship. Chapman's legal troubles, coupled with reckless behavior, began to affect his home life. In 1976, his life would take a drastic turn. On September 15, 1976, at the age of 23, Chapman, along with three other individuals, Donald Kuykendall, Cheryl Fisher, and Ruben Garza, was involved in a plan to rob Jerry Oliver, a man involved in selling illegal substances in Pampa. The robbery quickly turned tragic. Kuykendall entered Oliver's home, and within minutes, a sawed-off shotgun was fired from close range, striking Oliver in the armpit. The group fled the scene, but Oliver, though severely injured, was still able to identify Kuykendall and Chapman to the authorities before being rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, Oliver passed away the following day due to his injuries. The police quickly closed in on the suspects. Chapman's house was surrounded by law enforcement on September 16th, and though he tried to escape through the back door, he was caught almost immediately. The bail set for Chapman was $10,000, about $56,000 in today's money. Along with Chapman, Kuykendall, Fisher, and Garza were arrested. A bystander, Donnie Barton, provided further evidence, revealing that the group had openly discussed their intentions to steal narcotics from Oliver, Chapman, Kuykendall, and Garza. were convicted by a grand jury on July 22, 1977. Although Chapman did not commit the actual murder, his involvement in supplying the ammunition and carrying the weapon made him legally responsible for the crime. Fisher, who admitted her guilt, avoided trial. Chapman was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but was released on parole after serving only 18 months. It was during his time in prison that Chapman experienced a pivotal moment. After witnessing an inmate's failed escape attempt, Chapman intervened to protect the inmate from harm at the hands of the guards. His actions earned him praise from a corrections officer, and it was in that moment that Chapman realized he had a unique ability to apprehend criminals, but in a more lawful and ethical manner. This turning point led Chapman to pursue a career as a bounty hunter. Despite his criminal record, which barred him from carrying firearms and traveling to the UK, Chapman was determined to change his life. His transformation from a convicted criminal to a respected figure in law enforcement became one of the most remarkable stories in recent criminal history. Chapman's journey is a testament to personal redemption and the power of change. His commitment to becoming a bounty hunter following his painful past has made him a household name and a symbol of perseverance, strength, and second chances. A turbulent journey.
Heroin because he had someone to talk to, basically, someone to share.
After his release from prison, Dwayne "Dog" Chapman faced a daunting challenge, an overwhelming child support debt that threatened to derail his future. In an attempt to find stability, he turned to bounty hunting, a career suggested by the judge who had presided over his case. The judge, impressed by Chapman's problem-solving skills during his time behind bars, saw potential in him for success in the bounty hunting field. What seemed like a fresh start quickly became a rocky road as Chapman's personal life continued to crumble. In 1977, Chapman's marriage to his first wife, LaFonda Sue Darnell, came to an end, marking a painful chapter in his life. LaFonda initiated divorce proceedings, and Chapman, now single, was on the lookout for a new relationship. It was during this period that he met Ann Tegnell at a motorcycle event in Colorado. A connection sparked instantly, and after offering to give her a ride home, Ann revealed that she was only 17. Aware of the legal implications, Chapman made a snap decision to marry her the very next day. The marriage, though impulsive, resulted in 3 children, Wesley, James, and a son, Zebediah, who tragically passed away shortly after birth. Despite their family growing, the relationship eventually became strained and ended in divorce in 1982. Losing custody of his children was a hard blow, but Chapman refused to give up. Determined to reconnect with his children, Dwayne, Lee, and Leland, he moved to Colorado, where he met Lisa Ray Britton in a bar. Bold as always, Chapman told Lisa that he wanted to have a child with her and offered to pay for it. Surprisingly, Lisa agreed. They married and had 3 children, but their relationship faced its own issues. Chapman's desire for the Hollywood lifestyle clashed with Lisa's preference for a more peaceful rural life, leading to their divorce in 1991. Even before his marriage to Lisa ended, Chapman's life took another turn when he met Tawny Marie in 1988, after apprehending her for drug possession. Tawny eventually became Chapman's receptionist, and their professional relationship turned personal. Although Tawny wanted something more serious, Chapman wasn't ready for commitment. However, the relationship progressed and they married. Tawny struggled with substance misuse, and Chapman, despite being loyal to her initially, admitted to being disloyal himself. This toxic relationship took a toll on him, especially after the loss of his mother, which led him to struggle with addiction. But life had more twists in store for Chapman. Enter Beth Smith. Their first meeting occurred in 1988 when Beth was facing legal trouble for stealing 2 lemons from a market. She was arrested, carrying an unlicensed weapon and several overdue traffic citations. Instead of immediately helping her out, Chapman sent the paperwork via bus, causing Beth to spend 12 hours in jail. When she finally reached his office, Beth, who had fallen deeply for him during this time, was determined to make him hers. Despite his tumultuous past and ongoing battles with addiction, Chapman and Beth grew closer. By 1997, Chapman, his children, and Beth shared a home together, solidifying their bond. Their relationship, unconventional as it was, grew stronger despite the challenges they faced. Even though Dog's life had been marked by ups and downs, his relationship with Beth seemed to provide the stability he had been searching for. Yet, as is often the case in his life, a drastic change loomed on the horizon. This chapter of Dog's life reveals the struggles and the emotional turmoil he faced as he navigated through his complicated relationships. The journey was never easy, but each relationship contributed to shaping the man he would become. Despite the chaotic past, Chapman found a semblance of balance in his relationship with Beth, but only time would tell how their story would unfold. Dog's pursuit of Andrew Luster.
Texas for first-degree murder. I did 18 months and a 5-year sentence.
Dwayne "Dog" Chapman, alongside his wife Beth, built a successful bail bonds business, Dakine Bail Bonds, that was thriving. However, it wasn't until 2003 that they truly made a name for themselves. That year, Dog, along with his son Leland and their friend Tim Chapman, embarked on a high-stakes mission that would become one of the most dangerous of his career, apprehending Andrew Luster. Luster, the heir to the Max Factor Cosmetics empire, had been convicted on 86 charges, including numerous counts of assault involving illegal substances. He fled the United States and went into hiding in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, under a false name. For years, Luster had evaded justice, but that changed when Dog and his team tracked him down, leading to a tense chase and, ultimately, his capture. But this victory quickly turned into a nightmare. As the team arranged to return Luster to the United States, the Mexican authorities intervened, arresting them all on allegations of drug use. Luster, however, was quickly extradited to California to begin serving his 125-year prison sentence. Meanwhile, Dog and Leland found themselves in a Mexican prison, accused of illegal bounty hunting, a crime in Mexico. Initially, bail was denied, but Beth Chapman's media intervention created an uproar, and they were eventually released on bail. However, their legal troubles didn't end there. While out on bail, they made the bold decision to flee Mexico, becoming fugitives in the process. For 3 years, they evaded prosecution. But on September 14, 2006, just as the statute of limitations for their crimes was about to expire, U.S. Marshals arrested Dog, Leland, and Tim in Honolulu on behalf of Mexico. In court, Dog appeared in shackles, and while the judge found no immediate risk of them fleeing, they were ordered to wear electronic monitoring devices. Dog's bail was set at $300,000, while Leland and Tim's bail was set at $100,000 each. Dog's lawyer argued that the offense was minor by U.S. standards, but Mexico insisted the charges were serious. As legal tensions rose, Dog speculated that his arrest might be linked to a secret arrangement for exchanging prisoners between the U.S. and Mexico. In response, 29 Republican lawmakers sent a letter to Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, pleading for her intervention in the case. Despite their efforts, the Mexican court eventually halted proceedings on October 20, 2006, to gather more evidence. After months of legal battles, a ruling was made on August 2, 2007. The charges against Dog were dismissed due to the expiration of the statute of limitations. Though the prosecution appealed, the U.S. court officially rejected the extradition request on November 5, 2007, bringing the case to a close. While Dog's pursuit of Andrew Luster was his most high-profile arrest, it nearly cost him his freedom. Despite his success in bounty hunting, Dog was unable to arrest anyone in the U.S. due to his criminal record. Ironically, the Florida Bail Bonds Association later speculated that Dog's capture of Luster could be seen as an abduction, adding to the complexity of his career. This case, which brought Dog to the brink of imprisonment, also demonstrated the high-stakes world he operated in. His career as a bounty hunter, combined with his outspoken nature, continuously kept him in the spotlight for both his successes and controversies. His pursuit of justice for Luster may have been successful, but it came with dangerous consequences that forever altered the course of his career. Controversies, challenges, and bold opinions.
Probation violation, and we had him all set up.
In 2004, Dog the Bounty Hunter made its debut on A&E, quickly capturing the hearts of viewers. The show followed Dwayne "Dog" Chapman as he tracked down fugitives and faced dangerous situations, all while offering redemption to those in need. His signature look, mullet, sunglasses, and a no-nonsense attitude became iconic, with Dog admitting that his intimidating appearance was intentional to make fugitives reconsider fleeing. But Dog's story wasn't just about hunting criminals. Alongside his wife, Beth Chapman, Dog focused on helping people find a second chance, even if it meant capturing fugitives in unconventional ways. The duo's teamwork and Beth's skills, often in high heels, made Dog the Bounty Hunter an enduring favorite. However, the success of the show wasn't without controversy. In 2007, a private conversation between Dog and his son was leaked to the National Enquirer, revealing a racial slur and concerns about its potential public fallout. The backlash was immediate. A&E paused the show, and Dog faced a public apology on CNN, expressing regret for his words. His heartfelt apology led to the revival of the show, but in an unexpected move, A&E canceled it, shocking fans. Not deterred, Dog and Beth moved forward with a new series, Dog and Beth, On the Hunt. On CMT, they faced personal and professional challenges, especially as changes in the bail bond industry started to threaten their livelihood. Dog strongly opposed these changes, particularly in New Jersey and Colorado, arguing that they would put public safety at risk by allowing dangerous criminals to be released without proper supervision. As a public figure, Dog continued to stir controversy with his outspoken opinions. In 2022, during an evangelical event, he compared President Joe Biden to a dictator, made unsubstantiated claims about election fraud in 2020, and hinted at a possible fatal ending for Biden, drawing comparisons to Adolf Hitler. Dog also made headlines in 2024 when he expressed interest in becoming a deportation czar if Donald Trump returned to the presidency, showing his support for stricter immigration policies. Despite his divisive public persona, Dog's life has always been shaped by his willingness to speak his mind. But with every challenge, Dog's personal life grew more complicated. What other struggles did Dog face behind the scenes? Keep watching to discover how his journey unfolded in the face of public scrutiny and personal trials. A heartbreaking struggle.
First, Dwayne,
Thank you. See you later.
I wanted the dog.
In 2017, Dog Chapman faced an unexpected and heartbreaking diagnosis when his wife, Beth Chapman, was diagnosed with throat cancer. Despite the initial shock, Beth displayed extraordinary strength, vowing to fight the illness with everything she had. After undergoing surgery to remove the tumor, there was a brief moment of hope when doctors declared her in remission. But that glimmer of optimism was short-lived. The cancer returned, this time affecting her lungs, and the prognosis was grim. Yet Beth remained determined, refusing to let the disease define her. Beth's strength inspired everyone around her, but ultimately, despite her efforts, the disease claimed her life on June 26, 2019. Dog, heartbroken, had to watch as the love of his life slipped away. In her final moments, Beth, who had always been his rock, quietly urged him to let her go. Dog, unable to bear the thought of living without her, struggled deeply with this final goodbye. Devastated, Dog shared his sorrow in an emotional interview with Dr. Oz, confessing that he felt lost without Beth. At his lowest point, he even considered taking his own life, overwhelmed by grief. But despite the pain, Dog refrained from going down that dark path, finding the strength to push through. However, his emotional struggles were compounded by financial hardships. The expenses from Beth's treatments, coupled with the responsibility of caring for their large family, had drained his savings. Dog admitted that he was having trouble paying his mortgage and feared losing his home. Following Beth's death, Dog's physical health began to deteriorate. He started experiencing chest pains and trouble breathing, which he initially attributed to the stress of grief. But when the symptoms persisted, he reluctantly sought medical help. Beth had always encouraged him to take care of his health, and now, in her absence, he had neglected it. Doctors discovered that Dog had a dangerous pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in his lungs that was putting his life at risk. With the help of Dr. Oz, Dog made the decision to quit smoking, something he had been doing since he was 12 years old. After decades of heavy smoking, this was a major step. Dog used nicotine patches and therapy to manage his addiction and began focusing on his health again. Despite the challenges, Dog's determination remained strong. He continued his bounty hunting career, taking on dangerous criminals, and even creating a new show, Dogs Most Wanted, on WGN. One gripping episode featured the capture of Leonard Trudeau Jr., a violent criminal who had been on the run for almost 2 weeks. Despite Trudeau's resistance, Dog and his team succeeded in apprehending him. This marked a significant victory for Dog, who was still grieving the loss of Beth, but pushing forward with determination. Despite facing numerous challenges, both emotional and physical, Dog's resilience shone through. His strength in the face of adversity was evident as he carried on with his work, never allowing the setbacks to define him. But even as he moved forward, Dog's journey was far from easy. What other hurdles did Dog face during this time? How did his past impact his future? Keep watching to discover more about Dog's incredible resilience and the emotional roller coaster he continues to endure. Love, scandals, and a new mission.
I'm gonna cry again, dang it.
Stop, because you're gonna make me cry.
After Beth Chapman's death, Dog the Bounty Hunter's life took some unexpected turns, leaving the world shocked by the choices he made. Just 7 months after losing Beth, rumors began swirling about Dog's relationship with Moon Angel, a woman who had been close to the Chapman family for years. These whispers ignited tension, particularly with Dog's daughter Lisa, who voiced her concerns on social media, calling Moon a homewrecker and accusing Dog of being insincere. Despite the drama, Dog stood by Moon, mentioning the support she had given him during his grieving process. Things took an even more surprising turn when Dog proposed to Moon on the Dr. Oz show, leaving everyone, including Moon, stunned. She quickly denied any romantic involvement, but Dog clarified that the proposal was meant as a test, not a serious intention. Despite the buzz around their relationship, the couple never got married. However, Dog's love life wasn't over. Fate led him to Francie Frayne, a woman who, like him, was mourning the loss of her spouse. Dog had initially reached out to Francie for help with chores, but as they spent time together, they found comfort in each other's grief. They often shared stories about Beth and Francie's late husband, building a bond that ultimately turned into love. By March 2020, Dog and Francie began dating, and within a few months, Dog proposed to her. While some fans and family members thought he was rushing into things, Dog believed that Beth would have supported his quest for happiness. In September 2021, Dog and Francie tied the knot, marking a fresh chapter in his life. They began sharing their experiences on social media, allowing fans a glimpse into their lives. During this time, Dog also released a movie titled Hunter's Creed, based on his life following Beth's death. He also entered a new collaboration with a streaming platform, Unleashed, for a series titled Dog Unleashed, where he continued his bounty hunting pursuits. However, not everything went smoothly. In 2021, Michael Donovan, the president of Unleashed, filed a lawsuit against Dog, accusing him of making offensive comments on set and illegally using a taser. The lawsuit claimed that Dog used the taser to intimidate someone during filming, which, due to his criminal past, was a serious legal issue. Dog defended himself, claiming the taser was simply a prop, But the controversy cast a shadow over his new career venture. Dog's legal team fought back, accusing Donovan of filing the lawsuit out of spite after a business deal fell apart. Dog threatened to sue Donovan for defamation once the lawsuit was dismissed. Amid the legal battles, Dog faced another major issue: mounting tax debt. By 2022, Dog owed a staggering $1.6 million in taxes across both Colorado and Hawaii. To relieve some of the financial strain, Dog sold the home he had shared with Beth in Colorado, making a substantial profit of nearly $1.6 million. Although Dog isn't as prominent on TV today, his controversial actions continue to attract attention. One such incident occurred when he made insensitive remarks about transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney at a public event, sparking outrage for his disrespectful comments. This renewed focus on Dog's confrontational style of communication. In the midst of these controversies, Dog has embraced a new persona as a Christian influencer. He released a book called 9 Lives and Counting, in which he details his spiritual journey. Now, Dog believes his mission has shifted from capturing fugitives to saving souls, convinced that his true calling is to lead others towards salvation. Yet, Dog acknowledges that his past self, the Christian outlaw, remains a part of who he is, still determined to track down fugitives while guiding others on their spiritual path. Despite the chaos and challenges, Dog's life continues to be one of reinvention, filled with highs and lows, love and loss, and a constant drive to find meaning. Will this new chapter bring peace, or will the scars of his past continue to haunt him? Only time will tell as he navigates his complicated journey.
Good luck.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and click on the next video shown on your screen for more exciting content. We appreciate your support. Don't miss out on our upcoming videos, and stay tuned for more intriguing stories and updates. See you in the next one.